I'm leading a happy life with my husband, whom I love a lot, but I'm worried because we're having trouble having a baby. Our life was good without any big problems, but something bad happened. I found out that my husband was somewhere he shouldn't have been, laughing and having fun with someone unexpected. He had a hidden side. I didn't know that. My name is Erica, and I'm 24 years old. I've been married for 3 years to my husband, Daniel. We met through a friend and started dating because we both love traveling. After a year and a half, he proposed, and we got married. We hardly fight and always spend happy time together. But I've been worried about not being able to have a child. We're not trying to avoid pregnancy, but we still haven't been able to have a baby. We both love kids and talked about having 3 of them. I talked to Daniel about getting tested or trying fertility treatment. Since my friends who got married around the same time are becoming mothers, I felt jealous seeing their happy pictures with kids. Daniel took my question seriously. He agreed that we haven't been able to have a baby, and he's worried too. He suggested we wait a bit longer since we're not in a rush. He understood my concerns about age work and raising kids. He works in HR and understands these things. From talking to others, he proposed that if we still don't have a child after we turn 27, we should both get tested and consider fertility treatment. This made me feel relieved, and I agreed. After discussing children, we took a break and talked about our upcoming summer vacation. We like to go on trips during holidays. We planned the vacation, booking tickets and places to stay. But then, just 6 days before the trip, Daniel told me he couldn't go. He looked sorry and explained that there was a problem at work and he had to go help because his boss got sick. I was shocked and frustrated. I asked why he didn't tell me earlier since he'd been working late and tired lately. He said he was originally not supposed to go, but his boss changed the plan. I was angry and upset, and I went to our bedroom, leaving my suitcase behind in the living room. Daniel called me from behind, but I ignored him and closed the bedroom door. I cried a lot, even though I knew I should stop. I couldn't control myself. I got into bed and kept crying. Before I knew it, I fell asleep, and when I woke up, it was morning. My head hurt from crying so much. I sighed and got out of bed. I went to the living room and saw Daniel sleeping alone on the sofa. Seeing him curled up on the small sofa made me feel guilty. I softly woke him up. "Daniel, wake up. It's morning." He slowly woke up and looked at me awkwardly. "Good morning, Erica." "Good morning, Daniel. I'm really sorry about last night. I know you didn't mean to upset me and it's because of work my behavior was bad." "I'm sorry." As I apologized, tears filled my eyes. Daniel gently stroked my head and said it wasn't my fault. He said if you were in my place, he might have felt the same way. He comforted me kindly. I felt even guiltier about my behavior. Daniel continued to be kind and told me not to apologize anymore. He said he was disappointed about the trip cancellation but would do his best on the business trip. He asked if I would support him. Of course. I said yes and hoped the problem would be solved quickly. He mentioned the cancellation fee for the trip was a waste, but he would handle it. He asked what I would do while he's away. I honestly said it would be boring without him since we got married. He used to go on business trips, and I would be busy with my work so I didn't feel lonely. But now having him away on a day off felt like I would miss him. I told him I thought about contacting my friend Alice, whom I haven't seen for a while, at lunch while eating. I messaged Alice, my friend from high school. She introduced me to Daniel, and we've been friends for a long time. She mentioned that she knows someone perfect for me. When she introduced Daniel to me, spending time with Daniel, who shares my hobbies and is a great talker, was enjoyable. Alice even cried at our wedding. I sent a message to Alice saying it's been a while and I also asked how she's doing. She responded that she's doing well and asked if I had a fight with Daniel because of the crying and laughing emoji she used. I laughed a little and remembered that Alice said I could talk to her about anything since she introduced me to Daniel. I didn't want to go into too much detail, so I just said we had a small disagreement, but things are better now. I then told her that I wanted to meet up since it's been a while. She said she's busy during the upcoming holiday because she has a boyfriend now and plans to spend the holiday with him. She congratulated me on our makeup and said she was sorry we couldn't meet. I was happy for her and her new relationship. I felt really happy while talking to Alice. I told her I'm happy if she's happy. It's a bit sad that we can't meet, but I wished her to have fun with her boyfriend and said we'll meet another time. When Alice acknowledged my message later, I smiled. If my friends are happy, it makes me happy too. I decided to go back to my hometown during this long holiday. My parents live about 2 hours away by car. I messaged them, and we decided to meet on the third day of the holiday. I was excited to see my parents after a long time. My mom messaged me, saying that my dad is also looking forward to seeing me and to stay safe on my way there. The first day of the holiday arrived. I told Daniel that I'm leaving and wished him a relaxing holiday. I mentioned that I might not reply to messages quickly, but he told me to take care and not worry. After saying goodbye to him, I cleaned the house and started tidying up places that I usually ignore. I took breaks in between and received a message from Daniel asking what I'm doing. I sent him a picture of the room I was cleaning. He told me to keep up the good work but not to overdo it. I assured him that I'm taking breaks and working hard after finishing my tasks. I sent Daniel a good night message and went to bed the next day. I woke up at my usual time even without setting an alarm. I messaged Daniel to say good morning, and he replied that things are tough for him. I encouraged him and told him to work hard but not overdo it. I mentioned that I'll cook his favorite food when he comes back, and he thanked me later. I watched a TV show about trendy summer hairstyles and got inspired to get my hair cut. I checked my regular salon's availability and booked an appointment. I left the house early and got my hair cut. I thought it looked fantastic, and I felt good about it. After getting out from salon, I saw something such a horrifying sight that my jaw dropped. After some times when I got my senses back, I confronted them. As my husband and my high school friend were enjoying the day together at the restaurant, I felt really sad and mixed up when I found out both my husband and my high school friend had cheated on me, and they even had a child together. My feelings were a mix of sadness and regret. It was hard to believe what I was seeing. I couldn't help it. My voice shook when I spoke. It was understandable because this news was really surprising and upsetting. My husband Daniel didn't seem to feel guilty at all. He confessed that Alice had feelings for him even before I got married to him. Alice also looked proud and satisfied as she spoke. Alice told me that after introducing Daniel to me, she realized she had feelings for him and regretted it. And before Daniel and I got married, she confessed to him that she was even okay with being his second choice. It was shocking to hear that Daniel accepted her confession. She explained it like she was living a dream. He said he thought about breaking up with me and marrying Alice. Daniel wanted to marry me because I'm the daughter of a CEO, which meant he could take over the company if he married me. He planned to divorce me later. She made a deal with Daniel to wait until we divorced. It was a lot to take in. My image of Daniel was completely shattered. He said hurtful things, like he didn't like when I cried or got upset about little things. He even said he didn't want my child, which hurt because I love kids. When Alice got pregnant, Daniel even had surgery to make sure he wouldn't have a child with me. He said it wouldn't be right to have a child with me, but he had responsibilities towards Alice and her child. Alice was proud of what they did. It was like they were flaunting their actions. My feelings of sadness and regret started to turn into anger. I felt betrayed because I loved children and I couldn't have one. They were making a child behind my back before I could say anything. My parents suddenly appeared. They were really angry. My dad confronted Daniel, and my mom comforted me. I cried when I saw my mom. My parents said they would never forgive Daniel for hurting me. My mom's words made me feel loved and protected. People around us started to notice and whisper. We decided to move to a private room in the restaurant on the top floor. My parents led the way, and we all went there. Little Isabel, the baby, was already sleeping, so we moved to a quieter place so we could talk calmly. After we ordered drinks, my dad started talking. He wanted to know how Daniel plans to handle the situation. He guessed that divorce might be on the table. Daniel seemed unsure and struggled to come up with a good explanation. He accidentally revealed the truth about his affair in public. It was shocking, but with my parents there, I felt calmer. My dad wondered if Daniel might lose his job because of what happened. It depended on Tom, who is in charge at the company. Tom despises cheating and holds people accountable for their actions. Tom is a friend of my dad and the CEO of Daniel's company. He had a plan for Daniel to gain experience in different departments before taking over the company. Daniel was worried about losing his job and not being able to support Isabella, the baby. My mom spoke up and said it's not her concern. Alice had to take responsibility for her actions. My mom was angry and protective of me. Alice was shaking and scared. She realized they were in trouble. My mom was determined to hold them responsible. She mentioned reporting this to Tom, the CEO, and seeking a fair division of property. Daniel shouted and protested, but I was firm. I told my parents I would make sure they took responsibility for their actions. I wanted closure and wouldn't let them get away with hurting me. I left the room with my parents, leaving them behind in silence. We paid the bill, and I said they probably won't enjoy luxury like this anymore. Later, I sought legal help from a lawyer recommended by my dad and started the divorce process. I reported the situation to Tom, the CEO, and he was furious about Daniel's behavior. He assured me he would make sure Daniel took responsibility. Daniel ended up getting demoted at work as a punishment. Tom wanted to fire him, but he couldn't do it for certain reasons. So here's what happened later. Even though having affairs in a company isn't a good thing, they usually can be fired for it. That's why Tom, the CEO, couldn't fire Daniel because he had an affair with Alice. Alice wasn't part of the company, so nothing could be done about her either. Tom said he was sorry but couldn't do more than the punishment he gave to Daniel. I thanked Tom for trying, even though it didn't result in Daniel being fired. Daniel faced some consequences, and his reputation at work got damaged. Some employees at the store saw the situation and told others in the company about it. Daniel felt very uncomfortable because of that. As for Alice, she quit her job when she got pregnant. She was getting support from Daniel and working from home. She went to her parents for help, but they scolded her and cut ties with her. Alice blamed me and sent messages, saying it was my fault that her life was in ruin. She even suggested I start fresh with Daniel and Isabel, acting like everything was okay. I replied in a cold manner and stopped communicating with her. Daniel kept begging for forgiveness and wanted us to get back together. He said he loved only me and our daughter Isabel. I was shocked by his words. Who would want to go back to a husband who cheated and had a child with their friend? I divorced Daniel with the help of my lawyer, just like I did with Alice. A month later, I decided to stay with my parents for a while. I asked for property division and compensation from Daniel, which he paid. He went into debt, which was a consequence of his actions. Later, I heard that Daniel voluntarily left the company. It was hard for him to stay there after what happened. Alice moved into the apartment where Daniel and I used to live, but they had arguments and disturbances that led to the police being involved. They moved out, and it seemed like they disappeared from that place. So that's how things unfolded after the difficult situation. After the divorce, I started living alone near my parents' house. I got used to living at my own pace. One day, I received a letter from Alice's mother through my lawyer. The letter said sorry to me and told me what happened to Alice after the incident. After leaving the apartment, Alice and Daniel moved to an old place. Daniel couldn't keep a job and started drinking a lot, becoming an alcoholic. Alice, being a mother with a small child, found it hard to find a job. She left Isabel the baby with her parents and disappeared. Since then, they haven't been in touch with anyone. Nobody knows what Alice and Daniel are doing. Alice's parents are old too, so they're planning to find a childless couple to adopt Isabel. They want her to be happy and well taken care of. Isabel will be happier with her new family, instead of being with Alice and Daniel. And looking at a picture of Isabel that was included in the letter, I really hoped she would have a happy life.